everyone out in the virtual world. My name is Nathan Cook with Vista Talks Tech. We're coming at you today and I'm very excited. I have none other than Dave from Broadcom VMware with us today. And we're going to talk about all things VMware, some questions that people have, licensing questions, pricing questions, who knows what. But feel free also to put any questions that you have that you want us to cover in the chat. We'll be monitoring those and probably take those more towards the end of our conversation. But put those in kind of ad hoc as you see fit in the conversation. But first off, I'd like Dave, if you just introduce yourself, who you are, where you've been, and we'll go from there.
Great. Sounds great. Thank you.
Yeah.
So it's great to be here. Really fantastic. My name is Dave Howlett. Obviously, we told about that. I have been a legacy VMware employee for 6.5 years. So obviously a year now with Broadcom.
Yep.
And it's been quite.
It's been a year already.
Yeah, the transition.
That's crazy.
Yeah, bought VMware a year ago. So the transition obviously been
you survived.
a little challenging. Yeah. But we're here today and going to talk a lot more about VMware. So
that's exciting. Well, I'm definitely thankful you were going to come. You've been supporting us for this year in this transition, which has been tough, and so I definitely wanted to say that we appreciate the support you've given us. It's been very helpful. So. Here we'll knock into it here and just kind of start out with the question a lot of people are asking, right? Everything's switching or switched over from perpetual to subscription based. That's obviously a conversation that's happened. A lot of customers out there. The CEO has gone and talked about a lot, but can you just explain a little bit about the thought process behind that, where people are headed, and talk to your audience?
Sure. Yeah, so I will say, obviously, it's been a shock to a lot of customers that are out there. So if you haven't gotten your renewals yet or your renewals coming due, you'll find that it's a little bit different than what was out there in the past. Mm-hmm. But I think the big thing is what what Broadcom has done as they've acquired is really try to make it an easier to consume our solutions. And in order to do that, at one point, we had 9,000 SKUs that were out there, and so now we have
still not as many as Microsoft. But.
That's right. That's right. That's no doubt about it. But everything has been condensed into bundles, and this is bundle software. It's subscription software. So there's no longer perpetual, like you said. There's no longer a support. It's an actual subscription that's purchased, and that just gives you, as a customer, the ability to get the best of what's out there all the time. So it's always offered. It's always part of there. You can upgrade every single solution. We've put $2 billion in research and development. This is on a yearly basis. That's going into the vSphere VCF platform. So that's our VMware Cloud Foundation. And
yep.
So again, we go back to these 9,000 SKUs, put them into 4 different bundles. And right now, those bundles are a VMware vSphere standard. So that's just your basic vSphere with vCenter that's included. We do offer vSphere Enterprise Plus. And so that's again,
that's
just
pretty
a step
recent
up.
Again, isn't
that
it?
just opened up. So originally we had the Essentials Plus kit. Yep. That has no longer available. And so that's gone away. So anyone who has an Essentials kit would now go to the vSphere standard solution. Essentials brings out DRS, so our distributed resource scheduler. But really, from there, it's our main solutions are the VVF, and that's the vSphere Foundation, and then VCF, which is our Cloud Foundation solution. And those are the 2 solutions that we truly are focusing on. Mm-hmm. And our strategy going forward is all of the Cloud Foundation. And what it can do for our customers. So the problems that we're solving for our customers with Cloud Foundation, they can't find it anywhere else.
That's a great product. So any technology conversation has a lot of alphabet soup in it, right? VVF, VCF, EIEIO.
Thank you. Yes.
All right, ESPN, whatever. So can you explain a little bit of what people are seeing as difference between your standard, your Enterprise Plus, your VVF, your VCF? Did I get all those right?
You got it. Yep, that's perfect. Yeah. So again, starting with the standard, that's our basic entry line solution now, and that's just the basic virtualization. So it's the same product that's been around for 20 years.
Yep.
It's old technology. What is moving in. So from there, we move into Enterprise Plus, again, just has the DRS. And after that, it's the vSphere, VMware vSphere Foundation. So this is bringing in our VCF operations. And what that is a lot more, geez, I've just lost my whole train of thought here.
Happens all the time.
Basically, a lot more analytics in terms of what you're getting in your solution. So back in the day, it was vRealize. It moved to ARIA Suite or ARIA solution, and it gives all of the reporting. It gives you better understanding of what's going on in your environment. It has changed the name as VCF Operations now, and there's a good reason to that. It's because everything is all in one, and so the reporting and information that you're able to get from that solution is clearly much different than what was back in the vRealize days. Yeah. In fact, there's 12 different monitoring tools that were out there with part of the vSphere and VMware solution. That's all in one now. And so that's coming in. So as we move into the VMware Cloud Foundation, that's our prime product, and that's where all of the automation starts to come in. Again, we have the VCF, it's the VCF Operations. Enterprise, it's VCF Operations automation, and so all of this just automates everything that's going on, gives you all the capabilities that you're not able to find anywhere else.
Yeah, and with all the money you're talking about in R&D, it's probably going to get more exciting and more bells and whistles.
It's nonstop. From what's happened from day one when Broadcom purchased this, one of the other things, what we found is that we have a lot of first, we're siloed. So we had all of these 7 different entities that were all siloed. So you have your compute, your storage, your virtualization, Tanzu solutions. So all of those were siloed in our organization. And what we did is put that all together. From day one, Broadcom put it all together. So everything's integrated all in one. And it's a much more, a cleaner solution for everything. And so the changes that have come across have been remarkable. And so we'll see VCF version 9, which will be coming out this coming year. And that is just mind-blowing on how it's solving customer solutions or solving problems for our customers at this stage.
It's exciting. We might have another conversation when that launches. But looking at the different levels, right? Standard, we talked about Enterprise Plus. Really, if customers are looking for those, they're probably going to play list price or close to that. Really, the focus and the discount, like you're saying, is on the VVF and the VCF.
That is correct. Yep. Everything, our strategy moving forward, really focuses on the cloud foundation. And that's where we're putting all of our research. And in fact, there's 6,500 engineers that work on this every single day. Our CEO, Hock Tan, is meeting them on a weekly basis to see where things are, how things are progressing, and what we're seeing with this cloud foundation solution. And really, it's that common cloud solution that you can't find anywhere else. And what we found is that savings, once you get into that platform, if you're using any kind of a public cloud solution within your environment, you're paying 3 times more than what you would end up paying if you didn't bring it back on premise. And so,
and then you don't know what those prices are going to be necessarily all the time either, because they can spike.
It's a sprawl, the whole thing, absolutely. And what we'll see is a lot of these customers, they're coming back. So they're bringing it back to their on-premise solution as opposed to being out in the cloud. And so in order to bring that back, there's a lot that, because of the cost, again, that's in the public cloud, bringing it back into your own private data center, you're trying to create a private cloud. And that's difficult. And one of the difficult things, again, what we've seen with our customers is they were siloed as well. So they had a silo, they had their IT that did compute, you had IT that did the storage, you had IT that did networking, you have IT that does the security. And so you have 4 different silos there, and that just adds to the complexity. But with VCF, everything is all in one and really just streamlines the entire solution.
So a lot of customers who had Essentials or Standard, right now, if they're looking at pushing to VCF, they're going to see the price go up significantly, obviously.
A lot,
right?
A lot more.
But with the price going up, they're getting access to a lot of features that they may not be aware of, or that could potentially save them money on other solutions that they're currently paying for. So what, from a VCF standpoint, what are some cool things that people might see from moving from standard up to VCF that could be impactful for their business and potentially save them money other places?
Yeah, certainly. So obviously, all the monitoring tools that are out there, the security features that are out there. One of the big things that we talk about with larger customers is our developers that are looking to get some kind of compute. So when they go to say, hey, I need to do a development, I need compute storage, I need all of this information, they put in a ticket to the IT department says, okay, we'll do this. Well, it takes weeks, it takes months before they can actually provision that out to say, okay, here's everything you need. So we got security that approved it, we got our networking that approved it, we got storage, everyone's approved it. So a developer says, I can't wait this long, and they'll go right directly to the cloud. And so at the public cloud, they are able to pull all that data or all of the compute and utilize that compute. But then there's a cost problem. And so now they're actually expensing this, but then all of these expenses go up, and no one really knows. The IT doesn't see this because it's going through different departments. So it could be sales department, a marketing department, HR department, and there's this sprawl that happens on public cloud. Well, with the VCF solution, now a customer within your organization as a customer, they can go in, they can self-serve, say, this is what I need. We have a whole library of solutions. I need this in terms of the compute and storage and network thing that's out there. And now I can charge back. So I can charge back to that department within my organization, and as opposed to going to the sprawl. And it's going to be a third of the price than what it is when you're going to a public cloud.
What about like a SMB or mid-market customer? Are they going to find a new bells and whistles or nerd knobs they can turn? They'll be like, hey, this is pretty cool.
Yeah, no, there's, I would say that, so agreed, there's a lot of solutions within that, the security part of that. We'll be coming out with live updates, so you can migrate update the entire
stack thingies.
Thank you. Yeah, right. Live, right? Instead of setting it down. So what we see is we see customers that are going in on, or IT staff that are going in on the weekends, going in on the
weekends. That's their favorite.
Yeah. So doing all of the updates that can be live on time.
Gotcha. So they can do it on a Monday at 2 p.m.
while they're in the office and run all of those updates at that point in time. So that would be. And then again, we go back to
vSAN and some of the other ancillary products. Is that included in the VCF?
So absolutely. So we start with the VVF, and that would be that vSphere foundation, which would include a little bit of vSAN and then just a small amount of the vSAN, so to get you kind of started and rolling into that. And then also has this vSphere or our VCF operations. Once you move up to VCF, now we're talking about Tanzu, we get NSX, so the networking piece of that, and then the full operations and advance of automation. So that's watching your entire network, whether it's a security side of the piece or compute, wherever there's an issue, you have the automation that's telling you this is what's going on and this is what needs to be fixed.
Gotcha. So, I mean, if we're looking at it, yes, it's costing more, but people are getting more for that money. Right. And in some situations, people may love that and think it's great. Some people may, not be able to handle the sticker shock that they're seeing and have to look at other solutions. Right. And I think of it. I mean, this isn't strange in the business world, obviously. Right. I'm a guitar player. One of my favorite guitar pedal manufacturers is a company called Strymon. Right. Everyone else on Black Friday has 20, 25% off all their stuff. They're like, our stuff is awesome. If you like it, you can pay full price. We don't care.
Right.
And people still buy it because they do such a good job with their products. Apple does a lot of those same things. You're not going to be able to get a Maserati on a Ford budget. So, maybe it's kind of catching up to the times of where things are at and really focusing on creating a great product. But the price of creating that great product is going to be higher than some of the other solutions. Is that kind of an accurate summation?
There's no question. There's no question, right? If you want to drive a Ferrari, you've got to pay for a Ferrari, and if you want to drive a Yugo, you have the price of a Yugo. And I think that's where we have a lot of customers, especially the smaller end customers, when they have 5 physical servers, 6 physical servers, and they're in this range. They have the standard solution, and whether or not to move to the VVF solution.
Yeah.
So, and is that cost effective for them? What are they saving there, or what are they getting out of that? And I think that's where this, the business conversation of what are you trying to do within your organization? What do you want to do? Where are you moving? Do you plan on growing? And maybe the vSphere standard is a solution where you would be at, but as you grow, you have that starting point to move to the next solution and start moving up to the next solution from there. So it's definitely been a sticker shock for some customers, but I think it comes back down to what's the value? What value are you getting, and how much money is it truly saving you and overall in the long run, and saving your IT staff and security concerns, network concerns, whatever it is. You've got to take a look at all factors.
Mm-hmm. So say a customer comes and they have a handful of servers and they're an Essentials user or a standard user, and now they want to they want to renew their software, right? They come to you and they say, what the happened there? What are you telling those customers in those conversations as to what their game plan should be?
Yeah, I think, again, it's going back to look, and it's on an individual basis for each company. So some companies have different goals and different aspirations. And so what are you truly trying to do as a company? And if you are just a 3 server company, 3 physical servers, you have the vSphere solution. It's going to be more expensive than what you paid before, but you have all of these tools at your hand. There's going to be less expensive options that are out there. Yeah. And if you don't plan on growing at all, maybe VMware is not the solution for you if you don't find the value of what the new cost is going to be. And so, but if you are planning on growing, you're going to be part of that new engine of where technology is. If you want to get into AI in the future, the R&D that we're putting into the running vSphere and VMware solutions within AI and putting that together within our compute. Sorry, I kind of go off on a tangent, but
no, it's tangent away. So with those customers, right? What have you've as far as I say this, a lot of customers have moved away from VMware due to
no
price
question,
increases,
no
right?
question.
You see
Frustration.
It out in the markets, there's people that are in lawsuits. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going out there. We're not going to sit here and pretend to be oblivious to that.
No
right?
doubt.
So VMware's lost a lot of customers, and I know that they're okay with that because their goal is to create a product for their core business solution, right? But what are customers that are moving away? What are they saying, or have they had success? Have you gotten a lot of people that have come back and be like, I guess we're willing to pay it now because this didn't do what I thought it would do?
Yeah. So absolutely, and we see that all the time. So obviously, there's great solutions out there, and they're going to fit the various customers. But we've also seen customers that have left and said, "Oh, okay, you know what? This isn't working out." So where it might be security issues that they ran into and some ransomware as soon as they moved over to another solution. Another might be they said, this is crazy. I'm going to update everything to a different solution, and that all of a sudden turns out to be 5-10 times the cost of what staying with vSphere and VMware would have been. So those are really the areas where I think if any customer, as soon as right away, because we hear it all the time, what, you're crazy, I'm going, I'm leaving, I'm going somewhere else.
Yep.
And what we find there is, okay, take a breath, let's at least test these other solutions out before you just jump into them. And that's where we've really found that people have run into some problems. So I get it. We're going to lose customers. Customers are not going to go with VMware. But your first thing is make sure you're testing out these other solutions before you move it. Do a test dev environment. Get those running before you try to move anywhere. Because customers that move right away, we found a lot that have run into some
Yeah, if you don't do your due diligence, I mean, a lot of people do that with cloud too, right? They'll move out to the cloud and be like, we've been quoted X amount of dollars per month. It comes back, and because of who knows what, it's 3 times the price.
Right.
Like,
right.
well, how do we get back out of the cloud? Let's get back out of the cloud.
And then that's costly too, right? How do you get
Yeah.
back out of it? So
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is do your due diligence and find out what's going to be best for you. If it's VMware, great. Right. If it's not, then so be it. And that's something, shameless plug with Vista that we really excel at is really finding out, is this the best solution for you? Another thing that we had talked about a little bit earlier was if VMware's too expensive, right? A lot of businesses are siloed and they have different use cases or needs. So what would you say to someone who they like VMware, but maybe they're over provisioned, maybe they can cut down some areas of it so that they can lower their price point?
Yeah, so that's a great point too. We've seen that time and time again because the price is way too much. I say, you know what? Maybe you can decommission some of these extra servers that you have. And so let's take a look. There are some assessments out there that we can take a look and see what is the
that Vista IT can run.
That's right. That is correct. That is correct.
Free of charge, mind you.
So yeah, and that we can better optimize what the vSphere footprint is and how much you really are utilizing. And so if we can decommission some servers, you're going to save a lot of costs in the VMware software. So
port counts, maybe lower some of those.
No question. No
a lot
question.
of things that you can do there.
Yeah, and the other part too, I think this is one was been a shocker too, is if your servers have a processor with less than 16 cores, so you have an 8-core processor, and maybe it's a dual 8-core processor, our licensing is now by the core, per core. Well, we also have a minimum to that. So it's a 16-core minimum per processor. So when you thought you were going to pay for 16 cores because you have 2 8-core processors, it's actually, due to our minimums, it's a 32-core. So it's double that pricing.
Gotcha. So
that's where
the same if they were to upgrade
you got it
to 2 16-core processors.
You bet.
Right?
You bet. So decommission that server, do it somewhere else.
This IT can help you also
Perfect.
upgrade your processors. So if you're running 2 servers with both with 8-core, because that's how a lot of licensing has worked in the past, you could essentially collapse those into one. Move the memory over, upgrade your processors, and get a similar type of processing power for the same license cost.
That would be correct. Yeah. So
that's kind of cool.
32 cores.
Like it. Let's see what else we got here. So, what's VMware doing with some of the other niche offerings? I know some of the things that VMware's had a big hand as an edge. Robo-licensing's been a pain point for some people as well. VDI, I know Horizon. I think that's kind of with Broadcom. Maybe you can just speak to some of the other solutions outside of just the VCF that is legacy VMware.
Yeah. So I guess the first thing we should say, because most people may not be aware that Broadcom did sell off. We sold off our Horizon and we sold off Workspace ONE. Carbon Black is no longer part of the VMware part of the business solution. So we really stuck with this core bit.
But they're still part of Broadcom,
vision.
Correct?
They are. It's just not. Yes, they are a separate entity of Broadcom, but it was.
And it's just still this Carbon Black is still Carbon Black that people will be familiar with. Horizon is still the same, or is it? Maybe they've changed them a lot.
To be honest, it's a different entity, so I don't even deal with that. I have no
care.
idea, right? Yeah, so I don't get a chance to stay with that. But Horizon is now with a company called Omnissa. Same with Workspace ONE. That is also with a company, a completely different company than what we had. But going back, so we were talking about, or you asked about, we do have a version of the VDI, which is this VCF or VDI, and that's really more for. It's a little bit less of a price than the VCF. Again, we go to this cloud foundation solution. So there are new solutions that just came in
so is that
just this
part
year.
Of VCF, or is it?
It is part of VCF. It's a part of VCF, but it's dedicated to virtual.
So if I have a VCF
virtual desktop,
license,
to virtual
is it included in that, or do I have to pay additional licenses in addition to my VCF license?
So it's really gives you if you're dedicating just for virtual desktops, the virtual desktop infrastructure, that's going to be a solution that would be
in addition
better for you as opposed to.
So it's
you have the VCF and then a sidebar onto
Okay.
a sided solution. Same thing then with our edge solution. So that again is a lesser expensive solution that's out there, and that would be for these remote offices. Now it's not a robo because the cost of robo was very inexpensive.
Yeah, it
and
was like
so,
you buy it once and it's yours.
right. And so
That's
I mean, we're
that's
giving
not
right.
how Broadcom
Yeah,
rolls.
yeah. We
So
were
it
giving
rolls
that
these
away.
days, let's be
Robos we
honest.
were giving away for free, basically. So if you do have a robo license, that's going to go to a vSphere standard. There's more of that price,
Yep.
you know, where that would go to. But the edge space, again, going to these bigger companies, it is a less expense, but it's going to roll into all of the VCF functionality that you have. So it's an edge solution that's a less expensive than VCF, but
Got it.
still a lot more than standard.
Yes.
So.
And I guess it's still simpler than 9,000 SKUs, even though we're getting.
Yeah, I know.
jumping
Yeah,
around a little
sorry.
bit, right?
Yeah, it does get a little confusing, but once you start to see the solutions, it gets a better.
For sure. Well, getting here to a couple questions. I know we're wrapping up with some things. So one of the questions had late fees seem to be pretty pricey, right? If you don't renew on time, is that how can you avoid getting late fees? What's the best mindset to have, or is that something that's going to lessen or increase? Who knows?
Yeah, no, it's not going to lessen. I'll tell you that. Broadcom takes that very seriously, as especially now as you are subscription based, is continuing to buy that subscription. But what has happened is those late fees did start up last quarter, and so if you had support licensing, when your support licensing ended, if you didn't start the subscription licensing, even though it's a little bit different product, the late fees are going to be out there. And so if you want to continue with the vSphere, if you want to continue with VMware, it's just making sure that you get that licensing in on time.
So you probably want to get ahead of it.
Yeah, absolutely, no question about it. So start getting your quoting now, so you understand the pricing and get the budgeting.
Yes,
that's right.
Okay, that makes sense. So if I have software out there and it expires, it's still going to keep working, but I can't get any support on it. And if I go back to want support on it, ouch.
That's right. Yeah, you're not going to do any upgrades or anything like that. You're kind of out of luck.
That's kind of dangerous for any production environment by any stretch of the imagination.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure there aren't any exceptions to that as well. So some of the questions that came in here: why would I choose your platform over other competitors like Proxmox or Hyper-V or any of the other solutions that are out there?
Yeah, obviously there's a lot of solutions out there, and I think we talked a little bit about that. My first thing would be go test those before you try moving anywhere at this point in time. So we've had customers that have come back, and again, one security issue, right? There's definitely some costs that are savings, but if you look at the overall total cost of ownership, there may not be, right? So there might not be that savings that you think you're going to get with some of these other solutions. Because of the support that you have to pay for all of those solutions as well. So again, I think my biggest point there would be, let's make sure that you test those in test environment with any of those solutions before you try to move over to anything at this point.
Absolutely, that makes sense. Another question: is there going to be any effort to improve VMware support? I've heard a couple quicks about that a little bit.
We had some difficulty here. Again, right? It's been a year now, and so it's been a challenge, and we've run into some struggles here and there. But at this point, I think we've gotten things ironed out. I know support was kind of a problem, so if the support was purchased, it all goes through distribution at this point. If you purchase through distribution, that actually started up. So it's February-ish of last year. It started. And then obviously really got rolling there in May, how our quarters processed through. So.
Yeah, and there was a lot happened at once there, and I don't think there was a lot of preparation for it. It just like, we're doing this, and we're doing it yesterday.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, and getting distribution up and running, so there was not a lot of runtime on that. So there were some struggles. I know customers had some issues.
Yeah.
But
I know too, in transparency, there's some distribution companies that weren't doing as well. They've been moved on from, so hopefully that will also help with some of the support, correct?
That, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope so. It will also go back to the VCF solution. That is going to be supported directly through Broadcom. So any of that Cloud Foundation solution will be going through Broadcom. If it's the vSphere standard or vSphere Foundation, those will be going through whatever distributor was purchased through.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Let's see what we got here. And I think we've kind of already answered this one, but are there any plans to change the pricing structure to make it more affordable for the SMB mid-market?
No. I mean, that's the answer. But again, we go back to say, what's the value? What are you finding from that? And if you're not finding the value of the new pricing, then by all means, I think we understand that, and we've already found that we've lost customers have moved to other solutions. And so test it out first. That's all I can tell you, because I know that there's been some struggles moving to other solutions. So.
It was a long time coming too, and I know VMware before Broadcom was planning on moving to a subscription-based model and doing all of these things. Broadcom just took the idea and we're like, we're gonna do this tomorrow.
Yeah, it was a rip off the Band-Aid really for sure, no question. It's like, here it is, it's time to go, and it was probably right. I mean, VMware was needed to do it, and we just kept.
Yeah, I mean, they're really creating a new norm for their product. They're rebranding.
Yeah,
they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Last question I got here. What are the minimum configurations that make sense to stay with VMware or to look at alternatives?
Yeah, it goes back to if you want to get the true engine, the true value of what VMware is going to be moving forward. So if we look at the VCF platform, the Cloud Foundation platform, we're looking at 700-ish cores and above. So around 20 servers, that's where you're really going to truly find that big value in VCF. If it's VVF, we're talking 6, 7 servers, around 200 cores. We definitely have customers that have moved into VVF and found great value with 3 servers, right?
Yeah,
with a much smaller solution, right? But again, that's at that 200 core level is where we see huge value moving into the solution. So anything less than that, it's the vSphere standard solution, and the pricing is going to be different than what they had before. It's $50 per core. So if we talk about a 16-core processor, that's $800 per.
Is there a minimum on standard VVF and VC? Is it all 16?
16 core is the minimum. So if you have
that's across all the licenses.
Across the board. So if you have a server that has 8 cores, or a processor with 8 cores, you need to quote it at 16 cores. Now, if you have a processor that's 24-core processor, then we charge you at the 24-core, right? But
you gotta leave money on the table.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So. Again, it's $800 or $1,600 for a dual 16-core processor, and then continues, right? Moving up from there.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, any closing thoughts before we let everyone go?
No, I think I would say, again, the value of where we're at, where VMware is at, where our strategy is moving forward. We are truly solving business problems that nobody can solve. And we are making things better for, especially obviously our enterprise customers. Those are solutions that they're paying millions and millions of dollars, and now are saving them utilizing the VCF solution. So.
And it's still cheaper than buying a new server for every time you want to spin something up, right?
Yeah,
those are the good old days.
Yeah, that's right. We've been around for a long time. So, yeah, that's
awesome.
Saved a lot of money, a lot of cooling and compute and space through cables. So, VMware is it's not the same VMware, but we are still working on solving problems and saving money for our customers.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you coming in and driving up a couple hours to come have this conversation with us, Dave. For everyone out there, thanks for attending. We do have some other videos from our hypervisor series. We'll get those out to you if you haven't attended them well. And if you're watching this on demand, we'll put those in the comments on YouTube below. We have an additional one coming up here next month, which I'll have more information on. We'll get that out to you as well. But thanks for attending Vista Talks Tech. This is Nathan Cook and Dave Howlett signing off, and we thank you for your time. Have a great night.